Hi, everyone. It's Father Michael Nasser coming to you from St. Nicholas Orthodox Church here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And what I am reflecting on today is, where do we get the strength from? You know, we live relatively demanding lives. As much as we have all these modern conveniences, life is still pretty demanding, sometimes because of all of them, but that's a topic for a different day. I've been thinking about where we get the strength from because of sort of a confluence of several of the things that have come together in my thinking this week. The week began when I gave a homily on Sunday that was talking about how we don't want to say that's enough from what we interpret as enough, that we let God decide when it's enough. We do, and we put out the effort, and when God says enough, then we stop. And that started a lot of conversation with different people who, you know, some of them understood the fact, because I made the point in there, but probably not strongly enough, that what God is asking us to do, first of all, it's for us, it's not from us. But secondly, He's giving us the strength to do it. So that's one that led to a bunch of conversation about, gee, Father, it's so hard to do more, and I want to say enough, but God hasn't said enough yet. And so where do I get that strength from? That was one of the inputs. Another one actually came last night. I was blessed to be invited to a group mainly of former staff and campers of the Antiochian village. Maybe all of them were, I'm not really sure. But they're getting together, a bunch of young men, mostly in their 20s and 30s, and they're studying a book, The Way of the Warrior Saint. So shameless plug for a book of a friend of mine, Father Christopher Salami, who is out of St. George in Phoenix, Arizona. He was, this is probably not his resume, but he was one of the altar boys at our wedding. But anyway, Father Christopher has written a wonderful book called The Way of the Warrior Saint. Look it up. It's on Amazon, other places. You can get it online. It's a great book. I've only halfway through it so far, but it's really, really good. I've heard him speak on the topic before. And the whole theme is that the way of saintliness that the church lays out for us, the path that God has put before us to walk, is a road that we have to fight. It's hard. I used to tell the kids at the camp when I was the camp director, Jesus didn't say, take up your pillow and follow me. He said, take up your cross. So the way of life for a Christian is what Father Christopher calls crucifixional living. And while he may have made up the word, he didn't make up, obviously, the topic. This is authentic Christianity. Christianity is the way of the cross. It's hard. It requires us to put out effort, a lot more effort than we want to do. And when we want to say it's enough, God has more for us to do. Now, what is so important to understand if we're going to walk this path, the way of the warrior saint, the way of the cross, the way of Christianity, is that we don't get that strength from ourselves. It's God. God gives us the strength to do whatever He's asking us to do. Now, it's not magic, and it doesn't happen automatically. Even to get the strength coming from God means we have to do something. Now, what's the something? It's actually three kind of somethings. I am recording this on my phone, which is on a tripod, which you can't see because it's underneath the phone. But when I look at the tripod, I see the three legs, and our Christian life is built on a stand of three legs. You've probably heard this before: prayer, fasting, almsgiving. We focus them a little more specifically and intentionally during Lent, but that's part of the Christian life. Well, it is the Christian life. What do we do as Christians? We pray, we fast, and we love people, especially people who are in need that no one else is loving. That's who we're called to love. So where do we get that strength? We get the strength from God to do what? To pray, fast, and love people so that He can give us all the strength to keep doing that and to do it more. In other words, we might go, well, I prayed enough today. I'm done. I've gone to enough Lenten services. Enough. I fasted enough. I talked about that in my sermon on Sunday. I've had one too many lentils. But that's me. That's my limitation. That's my selfishness saying that there's something that is somehow not as good about lentils. Lentils is wonderful. It's a wonderful food. It's actually a really, really good food. But anyway, I digress. The point is, where do we get the strength to pray and to fast, which gives us the strength actually to love people? We get the will from ourselves, and we get the power to say yes, but then everything else comes from God. And if we're not praying, we're not fasting, we're going to live under the imagination, the silly idea that the strength comes from ourselves. And that's where so many of us with the best of intentions keep falling down, because we don't go to God for the strength. How many times with all the best of intentions we say, well, no time to pray, I have some really important good things to do. No. The really important thing with our strength is to go and to pray. When we do that, even in the prayer, we're getting strength from God. And in that, combined with our fasting, is our power to love. Not just the love that we have from within, but the love that comes from God. So, where does the strength come from? It comes from God. St. Paul says in his 6th chapter to his letter to the Ephesians, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. He doesn't say be strong in yourselves and in the strength of your own might. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Fellow Christians, we have to get better at this. We have to realize with humility that we don't have what it takes to do what God is asking us to do, because he's not asking us to do it of our own strength. He's saying to us, go and do it, and I'll give you the strength. So come to me for the strength, and then go do it. So enough of us trying to rely on our own and then feeling so upset when we can't do what we want to be able to do, and we can't understand why we don't have the power to do it, because we're looking at the wrong place of the source. Don't look within, or if you're going to look within for what God is giving you, not what you think you can sort of build up on your own. Be strong in the Lord and the strength of his might. So I hope that's helpful for you. Please share this along with other friends you have on social media, and I'll see you, God willing, in next week's video.